So, this is our last lesson going over Jefferson as president. In the last two videos, we talked about the Louisiana Purchase, this term of westward expansion and manifest destiny, and the Lewis and Clark expedition after that. Today we are going to talk about the Aaron Burr conspiracy. So without further ado, let's jump right into this. Jefferson had feelings of both triumph and intimidation over the purchase of Louisiana. On the one hand, he had doubled the size of the United States and presented to Americans access to some of the richest land in North America. On the other hand, the government he directed was not designed to regulate the huge territory. So, fears of foreign occupation and secession dominated his thoughts. So, we are still on the now what? And you know what's funny? That lots of times in American history, we ask ourselves that question. Now what? We doubled the size of the U.S. We purchased a huge amount of land for cheap money from France. Now what? One man who challenged the president's authority was Aaron Burr, Jefferson's first-term vice president. When he was dropped from Jefferson's administration, Burr collaborated with a group of radical Federalists to organize the secession of New England and New York. So, Aaron Burr. Aaron Burr plus radicals. What did they want to do? Secession New York and New England. So Aaron Burr plus radicals advocated for the secession of New York and New England because he did not like Jefferson. Alexander Hamilton, who detested Burr and previously opposed his attempt to become governor of New York, uncovered the plan and blocked the conspiracy. An irate Burr challenged Hamilton to a duel. Although dueling was banned in several states and Hamilton despised the practice, he reluctantly accepted the challenge to defend his honor. So, Alexander Hamilton stepped up and detested Burr. First of all, and helped prevent this plan. Helped prevent plan. He detested Burr and helped prevent the plan of this conspiracy. The two men walked the agreed number of paces, but Hamilton refused to fire. With one shot, Burr killed Hamilton and eliminated one of the leaders of the Federalist Party. So Hamilton died because of this. I don't know why I'm blue all of a sudden. I shouldn't be blue. There we go. I don't know. Burr then set his sights on the new American territory, the Louisiana Purchase, because we are under the question, now what? And this was his first plan, so let's read more. The desire to create his new empire, his own empire, again pushed him to plot breaking up the nation. This time he planned to separate the western portion of the United States from the eastern section. He formed a partnership with General James Wilkinson, the corrupt governor of the Louisiana Territory, who also served as a spy for Spain. Burr and about 60 followers rafted down the Mississippi River towards New Orleans. They were to meet up with Wilkinson's army along the way. Wilkinson, however, changed his mind and sent Jefferson a letter warning him about Aaron's Burr's scheme. So this was Burr's first plan. Number 1. Succession of New York and New England. His second plan was, what was his second plan? Splitting up the U.S. Splitting U.S. Western from the west and the east. But Jefferson found out about this plan. In 1807, Burr was arrested and taken to Richmond, Virginia, where he was to stand trial for treason. Jefferson desperately wanted Burr convicted and played a key role in the prosecution. He published affidavits and offered pardons to conspirators who would help convict Burr. Chief Justice John Marshall presided over the hearing and displayed a bias in favor of Burr. Marshall followed a strict reading of the Constitution and instituted that 2 witnesses were required to verify the overt acts of treason. Since the prosecution could not produce the witnesses, the jury acquitted Burr. Marshall's narrow interpretation of the Constitution placed a high burden of proof on the prosecutor and established an important legal precedent that defended the right of the accused. So Jefferson did not get what he wanted. The Chief Justice, John Marshall, followed a strict interpretation of the Constitution, and no one can blame him for that. And it set up legal precedent to place the burden of proof to the prosecution in a court trial. So that is a wrap on Jefferson as president and the Aaron Burr conspiracies. 2. Next time, in the next lesson videos, we are going over the War of 1812 and why that's important to understand in the context of American history. So I hope you guys stick around for that.